Welcome to Plus Sports. This is on that moment where you have to know what's going on in the world of sports. I am Muda Shirishitu, and as always on the show, to be an interesting moment on the show. If you want to be part of the show, definitely you can join us on all our social media platforms, and we're streaming live on YouTube. So, what happened this week has been so many issues as regards to sport, but we're concentrating on one particular sport that I've been giving out so much promotion. Talking about Nigeria, I've been putting their personal effort in promoting this particular sport. Before this sport, some few days ago, we had the Super Falcons defeating Cape Verde 5-0, and that's been the talk of the town. So we shift our mind away from that sweet victory and take our mind to the sport called archery. And just some few days ago, we had the 2023 Archery Championship in Abuja, where several persons that put their resources together to promote archery in this country. And some of them just came back from Morocco, where they got bronze medals and they lifted up the Nigerian flag, green, white, green. And some of you wonder what archery is all about. And I'm sure some of you, if you're seeing it on your screen right now, you'll be saying that archery, what it is all about. Some know it as bow and arrow, just the bow and arrow for the sport, but it goes beyond bow and arrow. It has a technical and a scientific development to archery. So I'm expected to talk with my guests on the development of archery in Nigeria. Who am I expecting to talk with? I'll be talking to Olatayo Olaseyinde, who is the secretary of Archery Club in Abuja. So it's another moment. Also, we'll be hoping that we can also get the president of the club, Aliyu Abubakar, who has been doing so well to promote this club. So if all technical issues aside, we'll be hoping to talk with Olatayo Olaseyinde on archery. But that doesn't stop us from telling you what the video was like, the moment at the 2023 Archery Championship in Abuja. So we will go straight to Abuja and we will speak to several persons who have shared a moment of how archery has really affected them and the future of archery and the development of archery in Nigeria. So we'll go straight to this particular moment where perhaps some of you will be seeing this sport for the very first time. Some of you have seen this sport, or you are used to the traditional bow and arrow. This is not the traditional bow and arrow. This is about the technicalities and the techniques of the modern day archery sport. So enjoy yourself with these wonderful persons who have shared their opinions about archery.
I had anxiety a lot, so it was sort of my way of finding peace, because it requires a lot of patience, it requires a lot of concentration, and you sort of have to pay attention to what your body is doing. So it was a way to calm myself down. It started off as therapy and now it became a profession, so it still inspires me. And then my teammates as well. I've met a bunch of people that are crazy as hell, but most loving people you ever meet, and the most interesting group ever. So yeah, they inspire me to keep pushing and to keep going, and thank them for that.
Archery is an elite sport. There are a lot of expenses associated with it, from equipment to travel, if we do compete, to even the cost of membership. It is quite expensive, so I would say it's an elite sport. In terms of what could be done to get more involvement, I would personally push for probably like the Ministry of Sports to subsidize competition, especially, right? Because you have to buy your tickets, you have to pay for accommodation, your feeding and all of that. So the Archery Federation, in partnership with the Ministry of Sports, I think would really go a long way helping subsidize these things. We have seen increased interest in the sport. My colleagues competed, I think they competed twice this year. They're gaining global recognition, and most of it has been funded privately. So the more funding we get, the more people will come on and really just put Nigeria on the map for archery.
The game of archery is an interesting game that since I started on archery stuff, has given me this urge of like going higher in the tournament. I never know I can even shoot an archer, even though not the bull. But yeah, am I today representing my field as a sport lady in the Nigerian Navy. And since the competition, I've been here for a long while. But knowing it comes of archery, there's this love that attached to the game. That when you start, it makes you want to go higher. It takes you up to a limit that like you must beat this person. And so far, so good in the competition. The Lord has taken me where I am today to have medals, 4 or 5 medals in my own head.
On the future of archery in Nigeria, I believe that archery has a really bright future with the natural athleticism and enthusiasm of Nigerians. I believe that we can take archery to greater heights. We're already doing it. A couple of us, from different states in Nigeria that have gotten ourselves involved in archery. Have started doing things on the continental scene. We've started getting recognition, and I feel like with a lot of awareness and a lot of promotion and a lot of government and corporate entities involvement in sponsorship of the sport, we'll be able to take the sport to greater heights.
Yes, that's the 2023 Archery Championship that took place in Abuja. And we'll be talking about the development of archery while we have Olatayo Olaseyinde with us. We are trying as much as possible we can get him via Zoom, but it's good to have you on the show, Olatayo.
Good to be here too, Mudashiru. Thank you very much.
A wonderful tournament, and before we go to the 2023 championship, you can take us a little bit back memory, your involvement in the development of archery in Nigeria.
Well, my involvement hasn't been too long.
Okay.
I started archery in 2020, where around the time we had the COVID sit at home, and that period was a time where many people had to reflect on things that they wanted to do with their lives, and coincidentally I come from a place where arrows are sharpened. The name of my hometown is Lofa in Kwara State.
Okay.
And it's a place where arrows are sharpened. So I just got in tune with what it means to come from that place, and I just got really connected to bows and arrows. And as time went on,
I came across a couple of friends that we had the same flair for bows and arrows, and we started around that time. And we started with wooden arrows. We used to make PVC bows and wooden arrows. My president, the present president of Art Club, used to be the one to make the PVC bows and arrows, and we started shooting at targets. After a while, we developed into started making target boards with patterns, and we now started importing bows and arrows, proper bows and arrows. And within 3 years, this is what we've been able to build, a club that teaches the game of archery. We've also been able to win a lot of medals and trophies across national championships. And we've also gone continental and won we've won at 2 different events. The Continental African Championships in South Africa last year, and most recently that in Tunisia about 2 weeks ago.
So with this, how come we got the ripple effect? A lot of people in your base in Abuja, what brought you guys together? Because that's just your own story, but you guys are a group of archers. So what brought your story together? The connectivity.
So it's quite simple. I had a friend by the name Damilola Sholademi. We used to hike together, and we also were in another group called Dog and Friends. We're dog lovers, and we used to connect on that. And we just had this conversation one day talking about bow and arrows, and it so happened that I had another friend that I just saw on his WhatsApp status. He was shooting the PVC bow, and I was like, wait, where are you doing this? And he told me. Then I went and met up with him, And that's why I met our president, and we just, spoke about the thing. We got interested. We were doing it every weekend. And one day we just told ourselves, you know what? We can actually make this into a club where people come to learn how to shoot the game of archery. And because we are self-taught, we didn't have like proper coaching. We just continued, with that flair. And before we knew it, we had grown into, we had registered the club, we had grown into a place where when we just put up stuff on our WhatsApp status, people kept asking, "Where's this happening? Where's this happening?" And people started coming. Then we now, organized it into a proper club where we could now train people. And we now had the opportunity, as the time went by, we had the opportunity to get people to join as members. And eventually, we had the opportunity to train the Nigerian Navy.
So beyond this, a lot of people, we want to know what the role the government have played. From your experience, what role has the government played to the development of archery? Because I've got several information that has to do with clubs like yours that have brought about development of the sport. But what role do you think government have played in your own little involvement? Because there's always this collaboration, one way or the other, between the Federation of Archery and the club. So what role has government played in developing archery in Nigeria?
Well, to be frank, while we were, still at the beginner stage, the president of the Archery Federation of Nigeria, or the Nigerian Archery Federation, came looking for us. I think he heard about us, and he came and tried to tell us that, that there's a federation that exists, and we need to come join the federation. And he offered, he lent his hand of support. We should come, be registered under the Archery Federation and become a proper club recognized by government. And they also invited us to the archery championships in year 2021. So that was even the first time, we were at a proper championship event. And when we got there, we saw the archery team of the Nigerian police, and we thought they were very sophisticated when we looked at the kind of equipment they had as compared to ours. We felt intimidated at the initial stance. Then we got involved shooting with them, and we learned a lot, and we now developed. So if you look at the role of government, yes, aside organizing competitions in Nigeria, and making sure that there were the channels to which we went for our continental events. I can't really say much more than that. We would always love that government gets more involved in advertising, promoting, and discussing the game of archery generally, so people can even know about the game.
Well said, Olatayinde. But let me ask you this: what role is your club and several clubs trying to play to ensure that this sport spread to the grassroots? I think it's critical for development of the sport. But what role or what plans is in place?
Well, that's one of the key goals of Arch Club. When we started, we wanted to be able to spread our tentacles to every nook and cranny of the country. We had plans to be in every school, if allowed, and we've been doing that. Presently in Abuja, we're in 5 schools, right, where we teach the game of archery. We hope that we can extend to as many schools as possible. We've written to so many schools to be part of their extracurricular activities. In fact, at the point we thought, let's pursue the private schools. Then whatever monies we get from them, we use it to fund free archery in the public schools. But we realized that it really doesn't work that way. So as much as possible, every day we preach the game of archery. We try to let people understand that this is a sport that needs to be developed so much that people need to get away from the streets, because what sport does in Nigeria. Once children, once people get involved in sport, is a uniting factor. People are off the streets instead of people, just being wandering around aimlessly. People are involved in something meaningful via sports.
Well, sir, I'm sure viewers will be wondering as they see some of these your athletes playing. But there'll be challenges, obviously. What are the challenges you faced, and what are the challenges that obviously every other club or archer will face in this developing sport in the country? Olatayo.
One of the biggest challenge is very obvious, is the challenge of sponsorship. So archery is actually, an elite sport, right? It's an elite sport. It's a sport that is quite expensive. The equipment used are quite expensive. We have been able to collaborate with a couple of companies outside Nigeria to get bows, arrows, or equipment generally for cheaper prices than the standard prices you get out there. And if we had gotten sponsors, it would have been easier for us to be able to participate in competitions. It would have been easier for us to be able to reach out to more schools and all of that. So this is something that we use our hard-earned monies to invest in this, just because we want to make sure that people have a feel of what it is to shoot an arrow at a target. So if we had gotten more support, or if we do get more support, of course, archery will have been bigger than this as it is. Another issue that we have, another challenge, which is quite major, is the fact that we do not have a professional coach. So, like I said, we were self-taught. We taught ourselves so many of all these things. We read so much about it, and we taught ourselves, and we kept correcting ourselves. And some of the expertise we've gotten have been outside the country. Using IG or using YouTube, any of the social medias, to connect with professional archers or coaches across the world, and they've been able to lend their support. But there's only much they can do from afar. If we have, a resident coach here in Nigeria, to make things really better.
So you saying that you and some of your teammates that went to Morocco were self-taught?
We went to Tunisia. Yeah, we are self-taught.
Yeah, thank you very much. You went to Tunisia to win the bronze medal. Was it a self-taught methodology, or because you did great in Tunisia and the old tabloid, the whole country were talking about you guys? Are you saying that skills and technicality that brought a bronze medal was self-taught?
Yes, it was self-taught. In fact, the best kind of professional advice or professional coaching that we got was from our experience in South Africa. So when we were in South Africa, it was obvious that these people are novices to the game in terms of the type of, because people actually see you and judge you from even the kind of equipment that you have. So from the kind of equipment we had, people just looked at us like we weren't serious. But because of how well we performed in South Africa, they even labeled us, the cool runnings of archery. They saw how enthusiastic we were, and they loved it. So, some of the judges came to us and spoke about, oh, okay, we'll help you with this, we'll help you with that. Some other coaches, especially South African coaches, came and met us and said, if you invite us to Nigeria, we could help with this. But one thing that was, really nice about some of the people we met in South Africa, especially the team from Zimbabwe, the coach from Zimbabwe, was, she made us create like an exchange program, which we now had on WhatsApp. And, for every time we got to shoot, sometimes we, take videos of what we shot at, or the kind of shoot them, the kind of anchor point and all those other technicalities during shooting. And she helps to correct them, So all the coaching we got was really from afar. We also, met with, one of the Olympic archers by name Seb. He has a bow shop. in South Africa. You know, the people at the bow shop were really nice to us. They took us to when we got there. You know, they helped to tune our bows. They helped to just put them in proper shape. And every time we reach out to them, they give us proper response.
Well said. Interesting. A good storyline for your effort. But in ranking, what place are you going to put our beloved country, Nigeria, in terms of archery?
Right now, presently, we're ranked at number 8 on the continent. Yes, we're ranked at number 8 on the continent.
Is there any West African country ahead of us in that ranking? Because I know that mostly that be ahead of us will probably be the North African country. Can you remember the 7 ahead of Nigeria?
No, there's none. I think we're the only West African country that is. I can't remember any West African country ahead of us.
Okay.
If you talk about East African countries and North African countries, yes, they are quite South, North, and East. Yes, I remember vividly. We have Mauritius well ahead of us. We have Zimbabwe. We have Kenya, I think. Yeah, so I think it's going to be North, East, and South, but not. I don't think there's any West African country ahead of us.
Okay, to our next topic, the 2023 Archery Championship that just ended a few days ago in Abuja. Tell us the overview of that championship. How many personnel attended? Who they were? Because I know the Navals were there. Tell us about, in terms of attendance, how impressive are those that came in comparison with the last edition?
Oh, trust me, this was the best. This was the best we've had. We had people from, of course, our club, the Arch Club. We also had people from the Navy. We had about 5 or so participants from the Navy. We had the Nigerian Police. This is the first time the Nigerian Police will be attending our event. We also had immigration. We also had Zen Archery, they are based in Lagos. They also came around and did well. So generally, in terms of clubs, we had the highest number of clubs, participate. We even had the Air Force. The Nigerian Air Force also was participated in the event. So it was the best we've had so far. We had about 30 archers, all together that participated in the games.
You observe if there's increase in desire of personnel that attended and those that attended this year and those that attended last year. Do you think that there's reasons as a club for you to continue promoting this club based on this championship that just concluded?
Sure. It's something that was laudable. What we expected, we got. I think we even overshot our expectations, to be real, because when people are making registrations for an event like this, I think generally Nigerians like to do the last minute approach. In fact, I also need to mention that there was a team too from Benin, a club too from Benin that also participated. So it was quite eventful. Of course, people are showing more and more interest. We had even people from the press, show interest. We had people from radio stations, show interest, this time around. So it was really good. And this event was opened by the president of Nigerian Archery Federation, and it was also closed by him and also another board member of the Archery board in Nigeria.
The future, I'm sure sometimes after a tournament, based on experience and reported, we will notice that is when you not get home, you now think of yourself, what should I have done? Why didn't I do this? So if there's anything you'd probably ask yourself, what do you think you should have done in this edition that you didn't do? You've got the publicity, everybody knows the tournament is going on, and what do you think you should have done that were missing in this tournament now that the tournament is over? I
believe that the publicity is not really enough, right? When I say not really enough is until we start having other mainstream media come cover our event, I don't think the publicity is enough. So so if in terms of publicity, yes, when we have that mainstream media come on board, then that's when we'll be satisfied. But in terms of the improvement we made between the last championships and this one, I can bet you that we've learned a lot. Even the type of whistle system that they use across the world, we're able to employ that. The kind of screens that shows the archery clock and all of that, we're able to employ that this time. And of course, when a regular archer, I'm not even talking about organization now, but a regular archer, when they are done with a particular archery game, sometimes they are sleeping and they are remembering, the move they should have made, how they should have shifted to the left or to the right, how they should have, shot against the wind and all of that. So for me, as an organizer and an archer also, of course, I experienced that. It's just like playing the game of chess. If anybody has been involved in chess, you are sleeping and you're thinking about moves that you should have made. So it's the same thing with archery, And this time during our event, for the first time ever during our event, because we usually have it at the end of the year when there are no rains, this time there was heavy downpour and we still had to shoot. Yeah, we still had to shoot in the rains. And the reason why we went ahead with shooting in the rains was in international events, nobody's going to stop the archery game because of rains. We experienced that in South Africa and we learned from it. So we needed to, get our archers up to speed with that kind of system. So we actually continued and yes, it was a challenge to a lot of people, but even for us, I think we'll just be better prepared for the rains next time.
Okay. Now, the next year edition, what do you should be expecting on the next year edition that you want in terms of development? And also, I can see the venue your club used. Someone would have suggested the stadium, the Abuja National Stadium, if the place would not be expensive at least. But this particular place seems to be like a very wonderful place. What's the place like? Because I can imagine an arrow going above the fence. What security measures did your club put in place for this tournament?
Okay, so if you look at our club, right, or if you have had the opportunity to come around to where we shoot, so the longest range that we have is 30 meters, and behind the 30 meters board, we have arrow catchers, and even after the arrow catchers, we now have like a bamboo fencing to be able to stop arrows from, going over.
Sorry, Olatayo. The arrow catchers are at the back of the fence?
No, the arrow catchers they're like a cotton-like. They're cotton-like. They're meant to stop arrows from going beyond where the arrow catcher is. So, in the case where an arrow catcher cannot catch an arrow because of the speed, right, or because of the velocity is coming out, we have the bamboo fencing to be able to stop those kind of arrows. Meanwhile, just directly behind the bamboo fencing is what we have. We have a canal.
Okay.
So it's not like people live behind there, or so there's a canal. So at the end of the day, the worst that will happen is you lose your arrows to the flowing water in the canal. Okay. But for talking about our plans for the next edition, we already have plans to have that at the stadium. In fact, we even have plans to go beyond the 30-meter range that we shoot during our competitions. So next time we'll be shooting at 50 meters for the recurve and the compound bow category, so that we standardize it to what is obtainable outside the country.
Okay, what's that? We'll let our viewers speak to some of your athletes. So we'll be going to the event proper, where we had you speaking also, and some other athletes that spoke about what archery has done for them. Don't go away. Let's speak with you and the rest of your club members on what archery has done and the future of archery. When we come back, we'll still be talking to you Olatayo Olaseyinde.
Thank you very much.
I had anxiety a lot, so it was sort of my way of finding peace, because it requires a lot of patience, it requires a lot of concentration, and you sort of have to pay attention to what your body is doing. So it was a way to calm myself down. It started off as therapy and now it became a profession, so it still inspires me. And then my teammates as well, I've met a bunch of people that are crazy as hell, but most loving people you ever meet, and the most interesting group ever. So yeah, they inspire me to keep pushing and to keep going, and thank them for that.
Archery is an elite sport. There are a lot of expenses associated with it, from equipment to travel, if we do compete, to even the cost of membership. It is quite expensive, so I would say it's an elite sport. In terms of what could be done to get more involvement, I would personally push for probably like the Ministry of Sports to subsidize competition, especially, right? Because you have to buy your tickets, you have to pay for accommodation, your feeding and all of that. So the Archery Federation, in partnership with the Ministry of Sports, I think would really go a long way helping subsidize these things. We have seen increased interest in the sport. My colleagues competed, I think they competed twice this year. They're gaining global recognition, and most of it has been funded privately. So the more funding we get, the more people will come on and really just put Nigeria on the map for archery.
The game of archery is an interesting game that, since I started on archery stuff, has given me this urge of like going higher in the tournament. I never know I can even shoot an archer, even though not the bow. But yeah, I might today representing my field as a sport lady in the Nigerian Navy. And since the competition, I've been here for a long while. But knowing in terms of archery, there's this love that attached to the game. That when you start, it makes you want to go higher. It takes you up to a limit that like you must beat this person. And so far, so good in the competition. The Lord has taken me where I am today to have medals, 4 or 5 medals in my own head.
On the future of archery in Nigeria, I believe that archery has a really bright future with the natural athleticism and enthusiasm of Nigerians. I believe that we can take archery to greater heights. We're already doing it. A couple of us, from different states in Nigeria that have gotten ourselves involved in archery. I've started doing things on the continental scene. We've started getting recognition, and I feel like with a lot of awareness and a lot of promotion and a lot of government and corporate entities involvement in sponsorship of the sport, we'll be able to take the sport to greater heights.
It's greater heights, and that's Olatayo Olasayinde, the secretary, who is my guest on the show. Yes, Olatayo, before we round up the show, I was carried away by the cost of this bow and arrow. Let me use that word. What's the cost? I mean, what's the cost to get a bow and arrow?
Bows have different costs attached to them. From the regular beginner's bow to like a professional bow, it ranges. It ranges from probably upwards of 70,000 to some up to 500,000 for a regular recurve bow.
Is it with the complete set or just the?
No, I'm just talking about the bow. I'm not even talking about arrows or quiver or any of all these other things attached to it. Some ranges up to. Trust me, if you want a bow of 1 million naira, you're going to get.
Definitely.
If you want a bow of 1 million naira, you're going to get. And for the compound bow, which we actually did use in the events both in Tunisia and in South Africa. Those bows cost average of $2,500 to $3,000.
I mean, it's really the game for the rich, and but definitely I know that Olatayo, you're doing so well to ensure that everybody plays this sport. My last question for the show: what do someone needs to have? Is there an inbuilt ability that an athlete who wants to participate in archery will have, or It just needs to be motivated and encouraged, because I think there's some other sports, that you have to have an inbuilt ability to partake in it. Does that apply to archery?
So I think I've mentioned this a couple of times, that I think archery is the only game that I know that you do not need a special skill to be involved, and it's not restricted to any age. So, for instance, in archery, you can have somebody 60 years old, start playing shooting archery and become very good in archery. All you just need to do is to be able to listen, to be able to breathe, to be able to find an anchor point, and be able to point a bow at a target. If you are able to do all of this and you're able to be calm, you'll be able to shoot arrows. And it's very interesting to know that at our club, we have lots and lots of women, ladies, come try out the game of archery. And at a point, we had even more ladies in the club than guys. So it's something that anybody can actually take up and be good at.
On a lighter note, as we round up the show, I know there were trophies and be given medals, be given. Were you lucky, let me use that word, on the more lighter note, that you're part of those that won the trophy? Or because I saw, were you part of those that won the trophy at the competition and the championship? And what was your position? Because I know you are more than just an administrator.
Okay, so in the last championships that we had, I got involved in only one game, and that was the compound bow, 30 meters compound bow category. And in that particular category, I won the silver medal, while Emmanuel Ileke won the gold medal in that category. But for other categories, there are quite a lot of other categories. There's recall male 20 meters, there's the 30 meters, there's the mixed category, and there's the bear bow category also. So we had Habib, win a total of 8 gold medals. He has trained all year to be that good, and he was able to actually explore all of that, and came up with 8 gold medals. He was the most decorated archer of that tournament. We also had on the female side Hareke. She also trained very well for that, and she was able to make away with 4 gold medals.
Yeah, lastly, and for the show, time is no longer our friend. Emmanuel Oyeleke seems to be like the face of archery in Nigeria. I met him some years ago in Lagos at Roe Park. And he has been with his dreadlock. We just saw him. I hope you can see those pictures, videos again. What face? Who can we point as? I'm sure you're also there. You're on the podium in Tunisia. That's Emmanuel Oyeleke there. He was also on the podium in Tunisia. Is there any face ready that we can say, or there are several faces that we can say, these are the face of Nigerian archers? That's Emmanuel Oyeleke on dreadlock there. And I'm sure I met him in Roe Park some years ago in competition. I came second. What other names are there in Nigeria for archers?
Trust me, if you are going to be calling names, when you're calling Emmanuel Oyeleke, you're calling Olatai Olasende, you definitely call Damilola Cholademi. You also call Kachlom Einei, and you also call Rotimi Williams. They've done Nigeria proud, and we're always proud of them.
You didn't call your name?
I did. Olatai Olasende. Okay. That was the second person I called.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you for making Nigerian proud. Thank you for giving us a bronze medal in Tunisia and many other. Also, what you've done for archery in South Africa, Nigeria, and I'm sure the ripple effect is across the nation. We hope that by the time we talk about archery again, that the developments must have gone through beyond Lagos and Abuja. Thank you very much, Olatai Olasende, who is the secretary of Archery Club in Abuja. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to have been on this show.
Yes, that is another fantastic moment on the show today. I'm sure if you want to be an archer, you can just quickly listen over join us on all our social media platform, our YouTube. so that you can hear more and how to become an archer. Some can be self-taught, like Olatai saying there, and some of them, they taught themselves about this sport and it brought them medals in Tunisia and exploits in South Africa. So you can check on YouTube to get more, but if you want to check on YouTube to get more, first of all, check us on our YouTube page about what the development of archery and what archery as a sport is all about. And that's all on today's program. I want to say a big thank you for being part of today's program. Thank you very much for your time. Same time next week, we'll be giving you all what you need to know in the world of sport. And don't forget, tomorrow, 11 p.m. is our Plus Sport special, where we'll give you more entertaining and more exclusive news in the world of sport. I'm Muda Shirishitu. Bye for now.